say, man, it's my mama's birthday today, y'all. And for any of y'all that know anything about me, or any of y'all that have even followed my channel extensively, man, you already know how I am about my mama. And, you know, with that in mind, man, I want y'all to peep out a little something that I composed and sampled and put together with her in mind and in heart. And we're going to get to the other shit in a minute, best believe. And y'all already know that me, I'm going to go in. And I'm going to give it to you like nobody else can. But first, man, I want y'all just to join me in honoring the greatest love that I've had the blessing to experience. The greatest love I've seen given to other people, man. The most awesome, strongest woman that I've ever seen in action. You know what I'm saying? The most awesome teacher that anybody could ever have the chance to learn from. And the absolute best mother and amazing angel that anybody could be fortunate enough to know and felt love from. So, yeah. Yes, ma'am. Say, man, it might just be the cancer in me, okay? It might be that my mama was this Pisces Sun Leo moon, and I got this Pisces moon in the 5th house, so I feel it like that. But man, my mama was the truth, man. My mama was the truth. Mama, wherever you are, thank you so much for being my mama. For real. Y'all know, man. March 16th, 1962, man, they made a real one, bro. The realest. I shed tears in front of y'all, man, because it's her light that shines through me right here in front of y'all every time. It ain't me. I'm fucked up. It's my mama's love. I don't know what type of experience you had with your mother, man, but if you love your mama, better go tell your mama you love her, bro. If you love anybody, man, it ain't no time to delay, man. Go tell they ass you love them. It ain't a game. Sorry, y'all. Thank you so much for being my mama, man. I never forget nothing you taught me. And I'm sorry for every single time I let you down. You ain't gotta worry about it no more. Wherever you are, man, in this room right here, cause you be here sometimes, and I know it. In that spirit realm, whatever, heaven, whatever you wanna call it. I already know, man. What's understood ain't gotta be explained. something else, you know. It was my mama. You know what I'm saying? It's because of my mama that I'm a moon child. You know what I'm saying? It's because of my mama naming me Rodrigo. Rodrigo means famous ruler. And I'm a king. Yeah. And that ain't no cap, man. I ain't to my own home. But all bullshit to the side, y'all. What it was. Y'all already know who it is, man. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, this ain't shit but a little cosmic insight, man. And you know, I want to just bring y'all some real shit, man, because that's what I'm about. And I hope that's what y'all are about when y'all fruiting with me, okay? And so we're going to get to some crucial shit right here, okay? Because this right here, this is a little something about those people that have Chiron in the 12th house of their natal chart. And before we actually get to that, you already know what I'm going to do first, y'all. I'm going to bring y'all a little bit about Chiron, a little bit of mythology and the history behind it, to give y'all a little bit about the energy that comes along with it. Then I'm going to bring y'all a little information on what the 12th house of the astrological chart is all about. Then after that, you know, we're going to bring it all together and nip it in the bud. So let's go ahead and get started, y'all. Excuse me for crying, man. And if you think that's sharp, man, I don't give a damn. I'm me. And so, despite being one of the most recently discovered celestial bodies, which was like in 1977 when it was on a transit between Saturn and Uranus, you know, Chiron's power is widely acknowledged through a lot of different astrologies, man. And, you know, the mythology behind it is basically this. His mother was this beautiful water nymph who was heavily pursued by either Cronus or Zeus. And I've been told different names by different people. But one of these two, who are both gods or titans, they're pursuing her heavenly, and she's terrified. She doesn't want to do that. And so she ultimately turns herself into a horse, you know, trying to get away from the constant advances. And ultimately, you know, that didn't work out for her because she got raped and got impregnated first. And she ended up having this baby that turned out to be, you know, part human, part god, and part horse, you know, a centaur. And, you know, after being raped and defiled like that, and not only that, you know, after having this baby that was a centaur, and centaurs were known to be wild and savage, and, you know, they definitely weren't just widely accepted in society. And so she begged and begged and begged to be turned into a tree, and ultimately she was. So Chiron, despite not having parents, you know, and being a centaur with this supposed wild nature, which he wasn't, you know, his mama was this damn tree now. And his dad was, you know, deadbeat ass God. And we're not gonna go there. But, you know, despite having that going on, man, he blossomed into an amazing teacher and an extremely well-known healer. And, you know, he just had a beautiful soul. And he helped all that he encountered. And with his teachings, he just was well-known. And what ended up happening was he was walking with a quiver of arrows to give to one of his students, and one dropped out and stabbed him in the leg, or pierced him in his leg. And upon doing so, man, like anybody else would get poisoned, get really sick, and then die. Well, Chiron is half God. And so what ended up happening with him is he couldn't die, so he's in constant pain, constant agony. And so he begged and begged and begged for the gods to take him out of his misery and to, you know, let him die. And so in gratitude for his teachings and all the healing that he's brought, they allowed him that and took him out of his misery. And instead, they placed him in the stars to bring healing for us. And so Chiron's position in the chart, it reveals where we've been wounded, man. where we might have been abused, and also where there's an opportunity for discovering healing from within through acknowledgement and accountability, and then sharing this discovery with other people, because healing begets healing through compassion for the suffering of others. Real talk. And I'll also say that the position of Chiron by house and sign can also show where we have talent and access to ancient wisdom, as well as where we might depart from the mainstream in service to a higher practicality. Yeah, I went there too. And, people with prominent Chiron placements are likely to be awesome educators and spiritual healers, man. And that doesn't mean all awesome educators and spiritual healers have prominent Chiron, but those with prominent Chiron could definitely be awesome in this realm. Like myself, look at me. And so when we talking about the 12th house, the 12th house is like the murky realm of Pisces, man. And it's ruled by the planets Neptune and also Jupiter in a way. And what we find here refers to the unconscious and the hidden and the fantasy and the past life, as well as, things that are well beyond this realm or physical plane of existence. Yep. And it can also be associated with any periods of confinement or self-undoing. And I can also call it the house of karma. And, the planets in this house pretty much indicate functions that are hidden from your conscious personality, or, are expressed in terms of psychic faculty or self-sacrifice. So here we are with the wounded healer. By the way, Chiron is known as the wounded healer, if I didn't say that a while ago. A minute ago, because some of y'all might understand that southern slang a while ago. Anyway, y'all, but my mom would have got on my ass about that. But I mean, it's the accent I got. And so when it comes to having the wounded healer place right here in the 12, man, it shows that their deepest wound dwells in their own psyche. Yeah. And, in their spirituality also. I can feel that. And any 12th house placement, that's because any 12th house placement is really gonna, be fairly spiritual in nature, or come across that way anyway, to say the least. And, those that are not on some sort of spiritual path or trying to get on some sort of spiritual path, they're going to usually experience most 12th house energy as negative, like extremely negative and hard, because it's just absolutely relentless in sending lessons our way until we just really, learn them bitches. And I mean, I was trying to look for a more light way to put it, but we already know I don't push it lightly. So that's kind of what that is with that, man. And this placement also shows that they have extreme difficulty in opening up themselves to other people, yet at the same time, they're extremely empathic and compassionate. And as long as it's not their shit, but somebody else's shit, that they dealing with, they be straight, and they're crusaders, man. Like, they will bring their self to litter destruction trying to save somebody else. Like, Chiron in the 12, like, they can be Captain Saberhose. And then, the thing is, they doing all that and they themselves are being destroyed by who? Themselves. And that's just kind of what it is, man. And in any case, these are fiercely fucking private people. And 99 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 10, y'all pardon me, 99 times out of 100, pardon me, y'all, they're gonna be uncannily intuitive, and, that's gonna be to the point of being downright psychic. Matter of fact, they're gonna be psychic. And, they probably reject those abilities, though, whether it's out of fear or whatever it is, and that really just adds to the extreme levels of frustration and even depression that could even eventually make them fall into. And either way, 12th house Chiron is going to keep throwing extreme difficulties their way over and fucking over in order to teach them lessons in acceptance and ultimately in seeing the big picture. But let me put it to you like this, man. You know, the thing is, one might feel plagued, but with that, the plague will surely end as soon as that one simply accepts. That's what this is about. And, you know, what I mean about that, man, it comes down to a biblical passage that it makes me think of. And no, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. And, you know, I don't have a religious preference at all. I have studied Islam. You know, I've studied science. I've studied all different forms of Christianity. You know, my pastor was the grandfather of an of a Pentecostal black church. You know what I'm saying? When I say black church, y'all know what I mean, where they go in there and have a good time. But, you know what I'm saying? My mother's side of the family, you know, I grew up in an Episcopal church, you know, which is straight lace, up or down. You're in at 9:45, you're out by 10:45. You know what I'm saying? There's some acolytes. They're singing, holy, 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 you know, and that type of stuff, man. And like, they're both extreme opposites. And I myself, you know, like I said, I've studied Islam. I've done all kinds of things. And personally, I have my own set of belief systems. So no, but what this does remind me of is a biblical passage. And what it says is, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than it is. No, it'd be easier to get a camel through the eye of a needle than it would be for a rich man to get into heaven. And here's the thing about that. You could look at that a whole bunch of different ways. And most people wouldn't, because most people, their brain, they're going to immediately see a huge ass camel and think of a little bitty eye of a needle. You know what I'm saying? And think, nope, that's impossible. First of all, with faith, all things are possible. And a lot of us lose sight of that. Second of all, okay, back in Middle East, back in, you know, in biblical times in the Middle East, pardon me, yeah, what they had was cities within gates and within these huge ass walls. And the gate that you enter the city into was known as the eye of a needle. And obviously, it's well big enough for a camel to walk through there. But for whatever reason, camels didn't like going up in there. That's why you ended up tying out your camels out there. Camels usually would not go through there. Now, I'm sure they could be dragged through, or eventually, you know, things could happen where they're going to be through. And even then, you know, they didn't want people bringing what they would think. City people didn't want them bringing, you know, their camels into the city. You get what I'm saying? So there'll be somebody at the gate stopping them from getting in there. So it's possible. It's wildly possible physically that way. There's all these obstacles in the way. And so that's exactly what displacement is really all about, is acceptance, man. And, you know, having faith in self, man. And that means accepting self. You know what I'm saying? Accepting others, exploring their spirituality, finding a path that really suits them, and then just to simply start walking down that motherfucker. Like, for real, compassion is really what this shit is all about. And that not only pertains to others and the world in general, but right here, it pertains to self most of all, because most of the time they're destroying their self for whatever reason. And even beyond that, you know, individuals with 12th house Chiron have no doubt probably, you know, had to grow up with this sense of having to sense, the emotional undercurrents in their homes. So they've learned that what is not said is usually a lot more valuable and a lot more important than anything that was ever, you know, conveyed verbally, man. So even when things are held back in that sense, You know what I'm saying? Or in that situation, man, or when there's an intense or confrontational thing going on, man, they read vibes like Calvin and Hobbes in the motherfucking Sunday Funny papers, man. Real talk, man. And, you know, so here's what it is with that. As parents, you know what I'm saying? There's straight up certain shit that, you know, we think that we're protecting our kids from. But what we're really doing is teaching our kids not to trust us, man. Cause they already sense the bullshit. And that's just real. Some kids do. On top of that, you know what I'm saying? We ain't gotta say shit. We ain't gotta say shit. Kids usually always know, at least I know I did when my parents were, and you know you did when you were a kid. You know, we always were able to, you know, sense when the situation is fucked up and people are stressed out or upset. But when a child senses something like this and is not able to gain any understanding of it, and nobody's offering, you know, any clarity for them of what's going on, it scares the shit out of them, man. And it ends up creating a wound for them. And instead of addressing that thing, you know, cause, you know, what they do is they feel like it'll only probably make it worse, whether it be worse in the situation or worse for them. Cause then these people are going to lash out at them when they're going into it. You know what I'm saying? They repress the shit and they bury it, where it, you know, it just sits down in their psyche and becomes just this pressurized darkness that's always eating at them and that they're constantly having to battle with. And, you know, they're not the type to ever open up to anybody about this either, man. While they also are so motherfucking empathetic. You know what I mean? That not only do they have this going on with themselves, they're taking on everybody else pain into themselves on top of that, which pretty much makes them resent themselves. It makes them resent other people, as well as resent the universe and its circumstances altogether, until they first create some fucking boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And then second, accept and acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, that those emotions that they've repressed for so long, even anger, hell, especially anger, you know what I'm saying, that shit right there, you know what I'm saying, it's what's fucking them up the most, man. It's what's fucking them up the most. And they need to dust themselves off and start trying to heal other people that go through this same shit as themselves. And that will bring more healing unto them, man. Especially with that healing. Healing begets healing through compassion, man. And that's real shit, man. And with 12th house Chiron, y'all, I can also say that, you know, they're going to have to accept their feelings as valid. That's what I'm feeling about that. And really start giving themselves permission to mourn the loss of their innocence. And then they can move on to the fucking present time and understanding their fucking souls that, you know, they're capable of understanding the events behind their emotions. And then with that, being able to put them into perspective, you know, and realize how it affects them personally. Then they can figure out what needs to be addressed and then put that shit in the motherfucking envelope. It's that simple if they can stop themselves. And just doing that will help them become much better at, you know, having their confidence to take the issues that they have going on head on, instead of, you know, all them avoidance tactics that they've really used for so long. And speaking of which, man, you know, with this, man, drugs and alcohol are going to be the biggest danger with this placement, man. And that's going to be in the way of escapism. And see, when we're in astrology, a lot of people say, you know, they blame everything on Pisces or Neptune. They say, oh, it's all about escapism. No, not every form of addiction is about escapism. Some of them is hedonism. You understand? Some of it is, man, you know, I just was enjoying myself and now I'm physically dependent. You know, it's that deep. But it's not always, and it never is always, you know, escapism. But in this case, it's escapism. And, you know, and I'm not laughing about it, man. But, you know, what they just got to learn is that, you know, and what we all really have to learn is that shit right there, that shit is not an escape at all. What it really is a rattlesnake den. And so, you know, let's not go backwards And if that's where you headed, man, you can go by yourself into that motherfucker. Because all you got to do and remember is remember in the end that just because you built like that, don't mean you have to build like that, man. You do not have to feed into the negativity, yo. You don't gotta let none of that shit eat at you or fester at you. What you can do, man, is find out what's bothering you and move on to some better shit, man. We have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And then even beyond that, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. You understand? So, look out, bro. I appreciate all the love and support. If y'all interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below or email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Hey, I want to thank my homegirl Deborah Scott for, donating to my channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, that's love, man. And so I'm going to stop talking shit about that, man. And if y'all ever interested in doing that, man, the link is in the description below. You feel me? Other than that, man, we'll be back in a minute with a little something about those people that have Chiron in the 6th house of the natal chart. Yeah, it's liable to get physical. So that's what's up, man. That's definitely what's up.